Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys a nice 15-minute flow that's going to stretch and open your hamstrings and give some nice relief to any tension that you might have in the back chain of muscles. So we're just going nice and steady through. Try to keep your breath nice and deep if you can, nice and slow. And feel free to pause at any point if you feel like you want to hold it for a little bit longer. So we're going to start just on all fours. We're going to inhale, lift the chest, look forward. Exhale, curling under. Inhale, lift, just mobilizing through the back first. Exhale, curl. And then one more of these. Inhale, lift. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Lifting those hips up. And then from here, we're just going to softly bend one knee and then the other. Allowing the opposite heel just to drop down. And then straightening both legs and gently pressing back. Don't worry if the heels don't touch the floor. Doesn't matter. I just feel the sit bones just lifting up slightly towards the ceiling, so you feel that nice pull down the back of the legs. From here, slowly walk the hands back all the way and just draped over those legs. Holding the opposite elbows really nice. You can just sway gently side to side. Releasing that. Slowly coming back into your downward facing dog. If this is not comfortable on your hands or wrists, then you can come down onto the elbows and do this here as well, okay? Option if you want it. You're going to inhale, raise that right leg up. And just take some nice deep breaths there. So three-legged dog. Just allowing that left heel to drop down towards the floor as much as it wants to. Pulling the belly in and keeping both arms straight and strong. We're going to exhale slowly, just tapping that right toe down. Inhale, back up again. I'm a bit close to my foot case. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Just a nice dynamic stretch for the hamstrings. And up. And then slowly bring that right foot all the way back down. And then I'm just going to put the knees down. Shuffle forward, just shake the hips out. And then the same on the other side. Inhale, lifting up. Left leg up in the air. Nice deep breaths there. Trying to keep the hips closed. So if you open the hip, then you'll see that your left foot faces the side wall. If your hips are closed, you should have it that if you were to flex your left foot, it would still face the floor. And then exhale, toe tap down. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, down. I'm still reaching my bookcase, I'm going to flex my foot. My legs are too long. One more. Still getting used to working in confined spaces, obviously. And resting it down, good. Looking to the hands. Inhale, walk your feet towards, coming up onto the fingertips. Deep breath in, bring your hands to your shins. And then bend your knees and stick your bum out so you get this nice flatness in your lower back. So naturally you might be like this. So we're getting to mobilize the pelvis, rocking that forward. Deep breath in there as you lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, folding down. Now you can keep the knees nice and soft here as long as you feel a stretch all the way down the back. If you don't feel a stretch, push into the heels, straighten the legs a little bit more so you've got a nice amount of tension. And again, inhale, lift and lengthen. Pull the belly up away from the thighs. Exhale, down again. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Now if you want to, here take 3 deep breaths. As you inhale, try to straighten the legs a little bit more. As you exhale, imagine your head is heavy and dropping down towards the floor. Inhale, lift. And straighten, exhale. Heavy head. Inhale. Straighten the legs a little bit more. As you exhale, fold a little bit deeper. And then bend the knees. Hands to hips and slowly come up all the way. Good. At the top you can just circle the hips round one direction and then back the other way. Just freeing it up. And then from here, step your right leg back and just open the hip. So it's about a shoulder and a half between the 2 feet. Inhale, raise the arms up in line with the shoulders, and then from there pull forward and down. Make sure the hands are on the kneecap. You want to be maybe just below. And if that's not strong enough, you can come down. But you want to try and keep this right hip rolled back, chest lifted, belly nice and tight. So making sure you get that stretch through your side and then underneath here. Hammy, hamstrings, and a little bit into the adductors. So nice deep breaths there, just looking down. And if you can, pulling your kneecaps up on both legs, that's going to help the hamstrings release. And then inhale, coming up. Right foot, turn it in, 45 degrees. Heels are now in line with one another. Turn the hips to face the front. Deep breath in, lift the chest. Exhale, fold over that front leg. Again, pull that kneecap up if you can, engaging through the quad. Now you can stay here with hands on hips, or you can bring hands to shin, or fingertips, hands to the floor, whatever feels good. You can start to reach back for that back leg. So lots of options. Find one that suits you. Play about with them. And deepen the breath. And then soften that front knee. Bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, coming up. Now I want you to use something in front of you. So if you've got a couple of yoga blocks, you can use them, or a table or a chair. Just have something in front of you, because this is more about the stretch than it is the balance. So you're going to lean into that front leg. Back one comes up. Now you're going to take your hands to whatever it is you're using. So if you were using yoga blocks, you'd be here. Table or radiator or wall, you'll be here. I want you to drop that right hip, not all the way down, so my foot's facing the other way, but so that if I flex my right toes, they're facing down. From here, I inhale, straighten the left leg as much as I can. I'll take deep breaths there. Feeling that stretch is more of an outer hamstring, IT band on that left side. Feels too strong, just bend the knee. Okay, so you can decide how intense you want that to be. pop the foot down. Inhale, coming back up. So nice. Switching the legs, so just swivel around to the other side. Into triangle first of all. So now you've got your left foot parallel to the front, right foot facing the back. Inhale, arms up, forward, forward, forward and down. Hands to the shin and then peeling that hip back. Left hip and rib roll back, belly in, chest lifted. Remembering if you want more, you just slide down. And exhale, look down. Inhale, come up. That left foot, turn it 45. Swivel the hips to the back. Pull the kneecaps up. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Hands to shin, floor. Or maybe if you're here, they just stay on the waist. And do deep breaths into the back of that leg. And soften that front knee, hands to hips. Inhale, coming up. And then into a little balance on this side. If you haven't got quite enough space, you just pull that front foot back. Lean onto that front leg, back leg raises up. Take your hands to your little balance prop. Look to your left toes. Make sure your left toes are facing down. Chest lifted. Back nice and flat, belly in. And that back heel, trying to lift up as high as you can. Slowly pop that left foot down. Inhale, coming up. Turn both feet to the side. Put the heels out so you're a bit like pigeon-toed. Hands to the hips. Inhale, lift the chest, look up. Belly in as you exhale, fold down. Hanging out down there. You can slide the hands down the legs. Whether you arrive on the calf or the ankles, it doesn't matter. Take a nice deep breath in, lift up just slightly and lengthen a little bit more through the back. And then exhale, pull down. You pull the elbows wide, shoulders stay down from the ears. And I bring a bit of weight into the balls of my feet so that my toes start gripping the floor. And then inhale, coming up halfway. Hands are going to go over to the left shin. And then exhale, fold down. Trying to bring the right rib towards that left leg. And then deep breaths there. Hands back to the shins. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, hands to the right leg and then pulling down. And the hands back to the shins. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift up. Take the hands to the hips and coming all the way up. Super nice. Turn that left foot to face the front. Bring the feet together. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, coming down, soften the knees. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hands down. Step back into your plank position. Knees down. And push back for child's pose. Inhale, coming out. So there it is. There's your delightful little hamstring sequence. So you can add that on to any workouts that you're doing, or after a run, walk, or you can do it in isolation as well. So a few things, I want to talk a little bit about posture. Tight hamstrings can change the position of the pelvis, which changes how we walk and how the rest of our bones then stack up. So one thing that tight hamstrings can do is they bring the pelvis into a posterior tilt, so it would turn it that way. So what then tends to happen is it pulls the glutes down and you end up kind of in this position, which then what normally happens to compensate, the shoulders round forward a little bit. And then that begins to feel like standing up straight, even though it's in quite a reverse position. So often, as well as doing the muscular conditioning work, and postural strengthening stuff, just the awareness really helps as well, putting that into play. So when you're standing up, what tends to help for people with a posterior tilt is bringing a bit more weight into the heels, because in this position the weight tends to fall on the balls of the feet. So it's like as soon as I bring the weight into the heels, my pelvis comes back, and that tends to automatically start to tilt it forward a little bit more into that neutral position. And then from there, thinking about engaging the lower stomach muscles, and then thinking about shoulders back and down. So if you imagine your scapula, your shoulder blades are then in line with your heels, and then the pelvis is in a neutral position between the two. The other thing is that often people with tight hamstrings, normally it happens from lifestyle factors like sitting a lot. If you sit a lot, often you get tight hip flexors, so the front of your thighs here, the muscles shorten. So with that, the pelvis rocks forward, and this then creates the hamstring tightness. Okay, so with this position, so as well as stretching, more importantly to also strengthen the hamstrings and glutes, stretch more through the front, the quads and the hip flexors here, and then think about when you're walking, about tucking the pelvis under a little bit, getting that little tailbone tuck, engagement again through the front abdominals, core work, and then standing nice and tall to try and bring that back into line. Especially if you've had babies, tends to encourage that as well. But as soon as that pelvis comes back to the neutral position, you're going to feel huge amounts of relief in your hamstrings. So don't just stretch them to death, you also need to strengthen them if you have that anterior tilt. Make sense? Hopefully. Otherwise, send me an email, victoriajonespt@yahoo.co.uk. We can talk some more about it. We can geek up. I like to do that. But yeah, let me know how you found it, and I'll see you soon.